Now, if you happen to be in the sights of the U.S. Army's Special Forces unit known as Delta Force, you might expect to be in for a world of hurt. You might not be surprised then that alleged al-Qaeda member Abu Anas al-Libi is complaining about his treatment at the hands of Delta Force. He was captured for his alleged role in the 1998 U.S. embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania. But it is the nature of his complaints that is now raising some eyebrows. Joining us to discuss, Michael Daly, the special correspondent for the Daily Beast, who wrote the article about al-Libi, who is being tried now in a New York civilian court. Also with us is former Delta officer, Army officer, that is, Lieutenant Colonel James Reese. So let's begin with you, Michael. Tell us a little bit more about these unusual complaints of al-Libi.
Well, he's filed an affidavit in Manhattan federal court where he's presently facing charges of complicity in the embassy bombings in Africa. And he's basically saying that the poor guy, he didn't have a bed. He had to knock on the door to use the toilet. He didn't even have a dining nook. He had to, like, eat in his cell. They kept asking him questions. I got to say, you read it, and the one thing that comes out to you is that, and in court, the judge at one point said, as I understand, no one laid a hand on this man from the time he got grabbed to the time he appeared in court, and that's true.
So he's not complaining about excessive force being used or being tortured or anything?
Yeah, he basically is saying, I didn't get all the rights I thought I was supposed to get from America. This is a guy who's declared us the great Satan.
If he thought it was, if he was a U.S. citizen, he might be treated differently, he thought.
To me, it was a great measure of where we are now, because I think we were so enraged and hurt by what happened at the Trade Center that we kind of forgot ourselves a little bit for a while. And I think that, you know, this guy was not tortured, he was not abused, he was not waterboarded, he was not taken to some secret place. He was tried as a criminal. He was going to be tried as a criminal. He was treated as a guy who got arrested for a crime. And, you know, the Delta guys, they grabbed him, one of them sat on him to keep him down, and then nobody hurt him.
Let's bring in Colonel Reese, who was a Delta Force member. What is the protocol, Colonel Reese, for Delta Force when capturing a target like al-Libi?
Sure. Well, just like Michael said, I mean, how he wrote, Delta is the masters and the best of the world at doing this. Al-Libi should pray to God and thank God that he got captured by Delta, because if not, he probably would have been killed by any other force that came in.
Colonel Reese, you listen to what his complaints are, and some may think, well, gosh, he was treated pretty darn good considering what he's accused of doing.
Yeah, well, the Delta, this is what they do. They do this around the world. They're the Jason Bournes of the U.S. They come in, they snatch this guy. We call it a capture-kill mission. And we want to capture these guys for their intelligence. Then we move them out very quickly. We don't want to do collateral damage. Again, it's like being a ghost. They go in, they go out, and they snatch them. Once we get them to some type of holding platform, and this one was a ship, he got to the ship. And we know through the years of doing this now that these guys are trained, al-Qaeda, ISIS, any of these folks, especially senior leadership, they are trained in deception. So we don't want to make them comfortable, but at the same time, it's our job now to work with the interrogators, with the FBI, with the CIA, to let them do their job, and then our job's finished.
And when you talk about the Delta Force, I had to ask during the break, so what exactly is the Delta Force? Is it essentially the Navy's SEAL Team 6 equivalent, but with the Army?
Well, it is the nation's Tier 1 counterterrorism force that started out of Desert 1. That was the first counterterrorism force. And then as time moved on, then SEAL Team 6 came about, and now you have the two Tier 1 forces. But the reason you don't hear that much about them is that's how good they are.
Well, good to hear about that. Michael Daly, before I let you go, what happens next in the case of al-Libi? You
know, he will appear in court, he'll be tried, a jury will listen to the charges, and he'll be treated just the way he should be treated. And it's America at its best. It really is. These Delta guys are America at its best when they do what they do, and the way the criminal justice system is going to handle them is America at its best.
It's a good way to end. Good way to end the segment. Michael Daly and Colonel Reese, thank you both for joining me.